Thank you for being on this channel. It's my first video. You're my first guest, so I'm very honored. Uh, and yeah, you got introduced on Facebook. I shared my post that I am starting this channel, and then Cornelis van Nielen,
Hmm.
he tipped you. He told me then you have to talk to Elohim. So that's why we are now here connected. You in India and me in the Netherlands.
All right.
As said, I'm very interested in all your other works and your life path and your breatharian journey. But let's first, for the people who watch this to get more insight into 5G, let's first dive into 5G, and then later on we can see if we can go more into your other amazing stuff. So 5G, when did this interest you, or the EMF? When did you start to form your ideas about it, and what's your idea about it?
Well, when you deal with the current technology that's external from us, I'm a big fan of that for number one, because it helps me a lot teach the breatharian message, because all I'm doing is teaching the technology of the human being. This is the greatest um, science and technology you have access to. So we're making everything make sense. So the external technology is giving people a better understanding about how their bodies work. So it helps a lot. And they go hand in hand the way I see it. Both the external and the internal, they're both saying the same thing. And most of your external technology that they make is from the study of the human being. Because even when you look up advanced knowledge on the internet, it's going to take you to the medical profession, the human anatomy. It always has. Now, this is good. So when you deal with the 5G, the fifth generation, that's what it means. We're dealing with this technology, so we went for the first G, the second G, the third G, the fourth G, where we're at right now. And then now we're going into this fifth G. Now, keep in mind that when the radio was invented, we don't have the things now, but the radio waves is going through the air and it affects us. But back then, nobody was going to argue against it, being in the atmosphere, because that was a new invention that everybody kind of wanted. It was new to hear a broadcast, to hear a TV. So you weren't going to get that much flack, even though there was a small percentage saying something about it. But as technology kept rising, of course, you had that small group saying things about it, but since knowledge has increased, and the 3G was a big thing, where they'll get one of those machines, you can hear it in the atmosphere, even though you're sitting there. So, of course, it's affecting you. Everything we invent is affecting you. So 5G is just basically saying there's a faster frequency coming through the atmosphere. It is way faster than 4G. So what that means is we're going to have some external technologies that you better hold on to your seatbelt. You got the energy and the speed now to make that happen. One of them is you're going to see more cars on the road where a person don't have to physically drive it. So that will take place on our infrastructure. Right there, that's a change. So right there, the society we live in, even though we're going through this 2020 right now, we see this change. Just by having that faster frequency going through the air, and these new technologies got a chance to really come out, you are most definitely, from here on out, going to be in a whole different society. And I've been telling people about the breatharian message that by 2030, you're going to be in a world that you won't even recognize now from the one you're living in now. This is how fast information is moving. But not only on the external technology, just the breatharian message is changing people's lives. This is a serious, powerful frequency on what you could do with yourself, raising your vibration. So in my mind, I'm kind of for 5G. I know people want to hear the opposite,
Ah, nice.
with that rebellion. They want me to be this rebel, but absolutely not. That's just in my mind, a kick up, because the system do need to change. This is a kick up to saying you need to raise your vibration too and meet that call, meet that standard, because you're science and technology also. Because there was a time where the sun caused great harm on people when they didn't know that it would do less on you if you had a body that wasn't so much toxic, if you was to loosen up on it. So this is even telling you again that we need to raise our game on our lifestyles, giving ourselves more time. The new technologies that's coming out is going to give you more time. Those work weeks where people had to work 2 to 3 jobs to make it. In my mind, this is all going to work out big time, because when you got a greater technology on the scene, yes, you're going to lose jobs in the beginning, but it's going to create new opportunities in the future. And also, when you got the technologies dealing with the breatharian knowledge of living on prana, that's most definitely going to give you new opportunities. Because I'm living a life now that I never imagined I'll be doing some of the things I'm doing now, traveling the way I'm traveling, magnetizing some of the things I'm magnetizing to you. So to me, I think this is a big plus.
Mhm. And with magnetizing, you mean that you're attracting things.
Right, absolutely. And
Mm.
even though we're using that word magnetizing, electricity goes along with it because it's electromagnetism. So all physical matter got this electromagnetic field coming off of it, even our physical bodies. And the higher the magnetism, the higher the electricity. So even in my message, when I say meditation is the foundation, we're going on a whole revolution now, because meditation, that word, been around for the longest. But with this breatharian message, it's saying, wait a minute, you should be what, self-sustaining or have more capabilities if you really knew what meditation is about. You that got the power to heal yourself. And there's many speakers out there now. I was just listening to Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he's hitting it right, boom, where it needs to be. How powerful your belief system is, how powerful your mind is. The vibration of your thoughts have the power to change the protein of your body, and they're hitting it at a scientific level. So, like I said, just because we're creating a technology that's external from us, that's going on a higher vibration, that's just a wake up call to humanity. You need to raise your vibration too. It's a must, so we
Mm.
can have the benefits of things and it
Yeah.
won't harm you in another way. Because also in my message, the universe is user friendly.
What's your message? You?
The universe is user friendly. In
User
other
friendly.
words, when you change your perception and look at things
Mm.
at another angle, then you'll see the overall benefit of it. Sort of like on coronavirus, the lockdown. I know it had one avenue to it, but the other avenue, when I look at different places, nature just had a chance to regenerate. Nature had a chance to rest.
Mm.
This is a see this happen all across the board. You know, once man's activity had to cool down a little bit. So there's a lot of things when you look at it from another eye, another angle, it soothes that negativity, because that shouldn't be greater on your thought than the positiveness to take place of things. The light want us to grow on many different levels, and that's what I see all the time when I really take a time out to look at things.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, well, thank you for that fresh opinion on 5G, and I feel it resonates. Like the external goes on a higher frequency. It's an invitation for us also to vibrate on a higher frequency.
It's a
So
mirror image, right?
yeah.
It's a mirror image.
So a lot of people also worry about 5G, that it can have a harm on the body, that what you also say, 5G will install opportunities for the crowd control ideas going over the internet. So all these negative things that are attributed to 5G. What do you think about those? Are they true? And if so, or not? And if so, what can you do about it? Is raising your frequency a way to negate these negative side effects?
Well, when you deal with information, now I knew this before social media even got to the hype it is now, dealing with information. And because when I was on my spiritual journey dealing with different teachers, they said it does take skill on how to read external news. You
Mm.
can't let it get through you. You got to learn how to observe it, read it, and everybody don't have that skill. And to give you an example, I woke up this morning, when I looked at social media, there was this article there that was like hideous, dealing with some of the riots, you know, that's taking place in America and all of this. But it was this one that was just like boom, and I said, "Wow, that's terrible." But something told me go on Google to see that that actually take, you know, because it should be in the headlines, you know, how terrible it was, and it wasn't. So you got people making these videos and stuff, and I mean they had the full 9 yards, like it was on the news on TV with the newscasters. So there's a lot of information that's coming over, and a lot of people can't handle it. And I know this is going to happen, and that's a big thing too. Not we're not saying it's true or not, but to be mature enough to look at something and just look at for what it really is until it really lay itself out. Everybody don't have that skill. So it brings a panic and all this other stuff. And these people act like they want to be in the know. Information to somebody else, and you got this chain reaction, all this fear taking place. And if you just settle down for a minute,
Mhm.
a lot of that stuff, a lot of it is not true. Because you got a lot of people want to be superstars, make a name for themselves now, like they in the know, like they were sitting at the table with the oligarchy. And you got to look at it for what it is. Now, of course, in every situation that's negative, there's going to be people who's going to take advantage of it in a negative way. That's just how the ball bounces. But also, the majority of it, again, when you're working on in society and stuff, everybody is kind of a watchdog. We're wise enough to make sure certain things don't have to go a certain way.
Mm. So, but in your opinion, is 5G affecting the body negatively, human body?
Oh, well, of course, there's always going to be effect. See, even the sun is rising constantly. We've had this thing dealing with the carbon in the atmosphere. Everything that goes on harms the physical body. Nobody's arguing that.
Mm.
And even in my teachings, the more you live every year, so we used to have that a young person had more energy. But in the breatharian teachers that say, wait a minute, the longer you live, you have more energy. Just by being in this realm, you are sitting in an influx of very powerful radiation right now. What the breatharian message is telling you, you already got the energy. You just got to tap into it, that resource that's in you that's very powerful. There's so much energy around you sitting in that room right now that it would kill you if your body was to let it in all at the same time. So that's why we're saying with the breatharian message, it's a cultivation of yourself so your body can handle that influx of radiation. That 5G ain't nothing is being created compared to the energy that's around you right now. This is
Mm.
why this is a call to raise your vibration.
Mm. Right. Is it like from inside out, your own
Right.
energy creates sort of a reaction to halt it out or something? This.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you got this aura or this electromagnetic field that's coming off of you, they can be proven now through what? Computers, the technology now will show you this is coming off of you. And it changes with every thought, with everything you put in your body, the clothes you wear is constantly influxing. So what the breatharian message is telling you is your responsibility to now what? Keep your field. Because they even say in holistic medicine, a sickness usually show up in your energy field before it manifests in the physical. So
Mm.
this is really waking you up now. Now, if you got control of your electromagnetic fields, your responsibility, not the government's, not your spouse, to do with that. It's your lifestyle. It's your mindset. So now with the breatharian message is telling you, you can make the field that's coming off you stronger and bigger through a lifestyle. So
Mm.
this is most definitely, that is your protection to raise your vibration. We cannot continue to go on the way we were going. So even when you're dealing with the diet revolution, more than ever, there's even a call to what? Leave the denser foods alone. And meat is one of the densest on the physical body. That's why basically that's coming out. It's a raise to your vibration. See, on one level, you could talk about taste and you could go over all of this. Okay, nobody's arguing that. But on this journey, you do need some type of discipline and integrity.
Mm.
You need some discipline and integrity. It ain't about no morals, it's integrity. So you can have a better life because it's all about frequency and vibration and energy, just like Nikolai Tesla said. If you want to know the universe, you learn those things. So if you're crying about something that's going to affect you energetically, you shouldn't even be thinking like that. You are an energy being by your nature. Now,
Mm.
too much at one time and your body's not prepared, it's going to cause great harm. But if you live in a life preparing you, and we're so powerful, this is what the breatharian message is talking. Here I am a breatharian, you understand. But this is just the small city power in the Yoga Sutras. This is a small feat compared to what we're doing, compared to what we're going to go. There's more that's going to come out of me dealing with human potential. So this is what it's dealing with. So when you look at the external technology, that's a mirror image of our collective thought process. Because more and more people are growing like never before. It's just
Mm.
like this knowledge is just sitting there. There's people living longer now. There's people at the 60-year-olds is like the new 40, like never before. This is really all across the board now. Everywhere I go, uh, more people is getting into reinnovating different places on the planet that used to be more into poverty and stuff like this. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And on the benefits that's taking place nowadays. Now we are doing like we said, a whole revamp so we can really get it across the board, because now we're finding out that you are me. That's the new revolution. Everything is one. Everything's connected. So if one thing is benefiting over here and one is way down here, that'll halt your development. So I think people that's in the know is saying, if I can help this lift up to, it brings the whole ship up. So that's the whole thing. So even when I go out teaching the breatharian message, easily I could have took this message and ran to a cave somewhere. But you figure out, the more you put this into the matrix, teach other people, it started to help me grow. Because it was hard trying to maintain this frequency to myself, and everybody else around me wasn't getting it. But the more you keep getting it and you see it raising, that took my spiritual journey to another level. So this is where we at.
Mm.
Oh man, I told you I was going to come different with this.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I love it. I love it. Very happy, and it's an honor that with this vehicle, this channel that I created, I can get into contact with people all over the world to hear all your personal ideas about it. So it's amazing. And can I conclude like that you say, okay, it's you see also what's happening now, as you said, also the other things with the lockdown and the corona. And then the 5G, so there's fear. I also notice in myself a fear. So what if
Mhm.
there's all these 5G everywhere and there's satellites and I'm all the time like being radiated from it. So there's a fear comes up and I'm looking for a solution, like the reptile brain or how the survival kicks in. But what you actually say and what I'm also was already feeling is that the answer is to learn how to deal with the fear and to balance it. I think, like you say, like okay, you have this fear and you have this awareness about the technology, but it's very important to invest in these thought processes, the way you eat, the way your energy, you're raising your vibration. So put a lot
Mhm.
of energy into that, so that is the answer to what's
Right.
happening.
And that breaks the fear-based frequency. Because keep in mind, the breatharian knowledge is also telling you there was a time we used to say our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body, our energy bodies, or spiritual bodies, whatever term you want to use. But if we're talking about wholeness or holistic, all the bodies are one. So as I'm looking at your physical body and you're looking at me, I'm looking at your emotional body. I'm looking at your mental body. I'm looking at all of your energy bodies right there. They're not nowhere else. They're there.
Mm.
Now this is good now. And you're also connected because your body and your mind are connected. There's no separation. And also your external atmosphere, you are already one with it. Your body is so intelligent, it's coordinating for us all the time, to keep us alive. It's doing it. All we need to do is come in attunement with it, because like I said, there's no physicist on this planet would not say you're not a light being, if they want to use that term. You work with energy, period. You see energy, you speak with energy. You've got these chemical reactions, but they're stimulated by energy forces. So this is where we at. So this call out now, when you make changes to your physical body, it automatically make changes to your thinking. So when you have, that's where that word enlightenment come from. It got light in it. Not just the light you turn on in your house, but also to feel light. So when your body starts feeling light, you'll have little or no pains. Your thinking starts being light. Your emotions start being a lot lighter. Those are all systems of energy, but they all start running more smoothly and don't stick with you. So that fear-based frequency is something. That's why it says in the scriptures that God didn't give us a spirit of fear. Didn't. That just come from a certain frequency of a thought that we're on. But when you're light, you don't even think about
Mm. Mm. But
it.
But that's not spiritual bypassing, because that's what you also hear a lot. That's why I'm a bit aware, or I say cautious, when people say like you don't have to worry about what's happening today. You just have to raise your vibration. Then I think, yeah, for some people it's also spiritual bypassing. It's easy to say, well,
Oh, okay, I know what you're saying. Now listen at this. Okay, like how are we going to do this here? We're not telling you to be naive and just blow things out the water. We're not saying that. All
mm,
right. And we also say safety first. All you have to do is do this. Easier said than done. Because keep in mind, even how the governments and the societies is doing things, that's a mirror image of yourself. See, sometimes we like to look at the government as like they're coming against us and this and that, but that is you. They're not going to go hurt themselves. They got to live in it too. That don't even make sense. But we got to bring it back home now. So, because I've been with many groups who's out there and they're talking against the government and this and that, and I see the things where they're suffering at. But I said, if it was all that, you would have broke away a lot further. You're living off the government. You're just talking about them, getting the benefits of it every time they come up with something.
mm,
So these same people, they're going to be the main ones using 5G with the new updated phone, and all of a sudden it's all going to be past and gone.
mm,
So it's sort of like when I came to India one time. I was actually with some friends who had this machine that can tell you how the air quality is. You know, they'll turn green, yellow, red. They
mm.
had this machine, and they even had the mask with them. Now, this before the mask thing even came out, and I was wondering why. And they said, "Oh, the air is bad here." And they even had the machine on everywhere we go. It turned red. But me, on one level, I'm out of naive ignorance. Okay, now the machine is saying it's red, but I realized I wouldn't even knew the air was polluted if they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So people was calling me saying, "Well, you're a breatharian. How's the air quality?" And I was like, "I'm not even thinking about it. I wouldn't even knew it was polluted if somebody didn't say nothing about it." But my body was doing just fine. It can handle the air a lot easier than you eating an apple.
Mm.
Now listen at that. Whoa, that's the body you allowing it to do its job. It always going to work with toxicity in some type of way. You
Yeah.
understand?
Mm.
So when we deal with radiation toxicity, that does exist. So again, if your body can't handle certain influx of energy, because there's radiation in nature that could be harmful for you. There's radiation from the sun that can harm for you. That's why in ancient Egypt they called the sun Ra. That's where they get the word radiation from. Radio,
Ra.
radar.
Mm.
You're living in radiation. No
Uh-huh.
ifs, buts, and ands about it. And even when we're dealing with the breath theory message is powerful because it's coming along saying there's certain sicknesses right now that shouldn't exist. So of
Mm.
course we're living in a Western society of a pandemic of preventable diseases. So we're talking about some coronavirus, but the high blood pressure shouldn't have been at the record rate that it was if people understood they was energy beings. That's
Mm.
just what the accumulation of toxicity and everything. We could go into it. So
Obesitas.
being obese, a sedentary lifestyle, all
Mm.
of that really don't have to exist if humanity understood this message.
Mm.
You could be your own doctor, but everybody's not there yet. So of course that populace right there is going to be at fear when
Mm.
somebody say there's a higher radiation come. It's going to come.
Mm. Mm.
But for somebody who's out of that, like for me, high blood pressure, liver ailments, strokes, cancer, disease, that's not even in my reality. I haven't caught a cold in 20 years. That's just
Okay,
mucus
so
in the
let's
system.
let's let's get a little bit into your reality. I'm very curious. Breatharian, you you don't eat food. You only live from air. How did you come to this? How did you? I think you're from the United States. You told me you had
Right,
a normal job. I think maybe in business or whatever before, and now you're here in India and you're living off air, as I presume. So
right.
tell me.
Now, oh man, it's been a good journey too. And this is the best journey in my life that I'm glad I took. So glad. Now, just like with any change in a person's life, it usually happens because you're suffering. And one
Mm,
of my main sufferings was, first of all, I was overweight once upon a time. 190 pounds, eating that standard American diet. But listen at this now. Not only my weight was messed up, it was also influxed the rest of my life, and I didn't realize it. I couldn't put that connection. In other words, my marriage at the time started to get shaky, dealing with the different emotions, the mental mind. I didn't realize it was all coming from my center. You understand? And then the jobs you're working, you're unhappy, you're doing this, you're chasing a dollar. And we was taught that the external things give you status. The house was there, the car was there, and all this other stuff, but you're getting wore out and your health is getting worse. So there had to be some changes. And one of the best revelations that came was start changing your health. You know better than this, because if you're not around, you can't help nobody else. That's the bottom line. So that message hit loud and clear to me, and I began to downsize, cut my schedule, put more time into myself. Now, this is before I learned about being food free, but this was the catalyst. That's why I tell people that the food free message isn't far fetched, it's a holistic lifestyle. The more you start straightening out the energies of your life, the more these invisible forces. See, here we go, talk about 5G again if you want to. There is invisible forces that you can't see with the physical eyes that affects the physical body in a positive way. Well, you could grab these energies, but that's a whole other story as you're going on this journey. So the diet change went. I started to learn about fasting. Now, in this age we live in now, we got the most benefits ever dealing with not eating at all. The most medical benefits documented. And even Russia got a hospital that's been, 40, 50 years specializing in fasting. A lot of people didn't know it, but it's here now. Great documentation. People going there with chronic diseases. So if not eating has that much power, oh my gosh, just think if we really learned about what's happening with it. Okay. On one level can heal you, but how far can a human being go? That's the question. So now when you get into, like, I'm over here in India now dealing with the Yoga Sutras and stuff, it's all in the doctrines. Now keep in mind, with even though yoga is a popular word in everybody's household, that don't mean that everybody got the full doctrine, everything been stepped on, to make it attractive. So yoga is stretching, doing the different asanas, and that's it. You understand? But once you get to the third levels of yoga, Kriya Yoga, it's basically telling you, because you start adding in diet, and it's better to practice yoga on an empty stomach. All of this to start kicking in. It's actually at the third level of a seven level yoga system. Because remember, I said food freedom is actually a minor city power. We just look at it as big because nobody introduced that to you. But anyway, going back to my journey, when I began to add in this foundation of diet, exercise, fasting, meditation, just right there, those four things, especially I took them seriously. That's why I teach people about repetition, so you can get the benefits out of these things. The exercise, helped me to shape my body, give me more strength, give me more energy. The diet, watching what I put into my body, I began to go lighter and lighter, start dealing with foods with the more energy quotient in it, the enzymes working for me. I started learning about the different meditations. Learn about your energy channel. We all have them. Now, we all heard about the seven major chakras. Now, of course, you can't look at them by cutting the body open, but they're every bit as real. It's sort of like dealing with the aerodynamics of any type of machinery. This is a bio machine on how the energy works. We work with mechanical energy. We work with chemical energy. We work with thermal energy. We work with solar energy. Your body's doing all of this. You're becoming aware of how to become a better energy worker. And then fasting. At first, it's going to start out hard if you never did it before. But if you put your body into a routine, your body will get used to that new habit. It'll be able to go longer and longer. And right now, across the board, many people are saying all across the board, once you get to the third or fourth day, your thirst and your hunger will decrease when you're on this path. And you're going to go through some healing pains, being tired, this and that, as the body start healing itself. But once the body start getting healed from these practices, then it's ready to start bringing in more energy to start nourishing itself, giving itself its nutrition, because the underlying thing is we're energy beings. And when you deal with the chemical part of our body, a lot of our chemicals are stimulated from external forces. It don't got nothing to do with you eat. When the sun comes out, for instance, it automatically what? Brings the hormone that goes through your body called serotonin for your third eye. It ain't had nothing to do with you eating anything. As soon as the sun come out, it triggered the body, that big mass of radiation that we live in. As soon as the moon come out, it activates melatonin. So our body is a system of energy held together by thought, and we're living in these different forces of set times and cycles that are activating things. But the average human being just been ignorant to what's going on, and you've been getting in the way of your own development. So the body, what? There's a lot of things dormant that haven't been working, B12 deficiencies and all this other stuff, lack of vitamin D, not being in the sun and all of this, not grounding to the earth properly. We can't get out of it. You're in it. So you got to start really learning what a holistic lifestyle is all about, because that's what the breatharian message is about. So when I came into this message, I started to see all these benefits taking place just by doing those first four pillars. But then I learned about food freedom. Somebody said it to me, and it didn't shock me because I was proud about the work I've already done on myself. So usually when a person is working on themselves and they're taking it seriously, this message really don't shock them. They look at it as a come on, I want to try that next. So I see myself go from 190 pounds to like 170, just by a holistic lifestyle. And I felt way better, a lot more refreshed. So now I got this new challenge to learn more about the food freedom, living off of air, living off of prana, living off of chi, whatever word you want to use. Or the Western word is life force energy.
Mm.
Okay, so now I start upping my game, taking it even further on my lifestyle. Then you got to break a lot of the belief system. So the mental mind is at play, because this is what? 100% mental. Even though those first four pillars I said seem physical, that's all a mental thought process, because a diet change isn't for the body, it's to discipline the mind. Listen at that. It's all about mental discipline. That's why when you look at that word discipline, in the scriptures, they had the disciples. The root word is discipline. That's just a person living a disciplined lifestyle. You're being more conscious of how you're using your energy in this realm we live in. So even you are creating your reality, but it's hard for the average person to see that. So yeah, you do start watching your thoughts, taking meditation start seriously. And then when you are have a thought process where you can see yourself doing something, it actually start bringing that reality to you, even on the way your physical body works. So that's why when I was listening to Dr. Bruce Lipton today, he was hitting it right on the head. That's the breatharian message, whether if he realized it or not. So it's out there, but it's about a person coming into their own self-realization and start working on themselves. Now the body, it could get there quick. It depends on where you at in your development and stuff like this. But it's all the battle then is with the mind. Now keep in mind that breatharianism comes from the ancient word anidia, and that means that's the ancient word for fasting. And that means to eat very little or none at all. Now, we say very little, that throws people off, because they say it's just supposed to be that you don't eat nothing at all, never. And that traps a lot of people, because that can also make you miserable if, say, for instance, you wanted to go to a family get together, but you're trying to be this or trying to be that. And this
Mm.
message is letting you know you don't have to do that. You don't have to put yourself in a box. This is a message that's all about happiness, joy, and really living your life to its full scenario. Because sometimes when people do that, I ask them, well, how long do you want a person to go without food for you believe, is for
Mm.
real? Because you can see a person will go 6 months, which is incredible. 3 months is incredible. A year is incredible. And as soon as they take something, somebody will say, because this is how we are as humanity. See, you needed to do that. And that person could have been traveling, seen a food they never tasted before. And you have freedom to say, let me taste that. You are
Mm.
here to live a proper life, to enjoy, to experience. But
Mm.
humanity just went to a lower frequency or vibration of the experience and got trapped into it and didn't know how to get out for a while. You understand? So this goes back to the 5G message. Yes, we have to raise our vibration, and that's the call that's coming up around the planet. That's why you do see these thoughts and ideas that spread like ever before. And the breatharian message is so user friendly. Even when we look at the air, the definition of it is just a substance. You're living in a substance of something. You don't really know what it is. So we use this word electricity, like Nikolai Tesla was basically making instruments to get the electricity out of the air. Even Wilhelm, I forgot his name, Reich, I believe.
Right?
Reich. He did the same thing, making instruments that could get the electricity out of the air. And he called it orgon. Now your body, again, let's take it back there. This is an instrument. Don't count on a box, just an antenna. This is it. So you are a practitioner now that's grabbing electricity out of the air. Now we really don't know what electricity is. That's besides the point. Now we could use the word electrons and how it goes. We know the concept, but that's besides the point. It's about you learning how to harness and use electricity. Just like the light that comes into your house. Somebody had to figure that out. It's already here. You got to generate that spark, but it's all about how to harness it, deal with materials that's good conductors of energy. And our bodies is number one. We're carbon based. Carbon is good for conducting of energy. And I could go on and on. We got our black dot that's in our head that we're born with, as babies. That's a good harvester of energy because everybody has what you call neuromelanin inside of them. You're an electrical being. Just to move your hand, that was electrical impulse. Pow.
Right.
This is what's happening. And about 100 years ago, I believe that book, The Biography of a Yogi, he even told the people at that time, you got electricity going up and down your spinal cord. That is the truth. You do. So once you understand you're an electrical being, you're basically strengthening through this lifestyle the wiring within your house. This is where you live. This is your address. You're strengthening the wiring so you can have a better light, better electricity coming through the body. Remember when I said earlier, the higher the electricity, the higher the magnetism. They go hand in hand. And vice versa. The higher the magnetism, the higher the electricity. So yes, if we create our reality and you strengthen your magnetism, you are bringing things to you. So you start thinking more positive because you know how crucial your thought process is now. This is really something. So this all goes hand in hand. This is a wonderful, wonderful age we're living in. And everything I just said, that wasn't far-fetched. This is down to earth. Everybody has access to it. Everybody's born into the forces. All this cosmic energy is raining on us both day and night. We're working with it. So even when we went back in the conversation dealing with the 5G, that was just people figured out that, wow, we can make instruments now to get a bigger influx of energy. Now, if they can do that, you can too. Wow. This is awesome again. So when you get the right perception of what's going on in the world, in society, things are looking a whole lot brighter when you understand this new mind, when you start getting it. Oh my gosh, you can see further.
It's amazing the last weeks, months, how so many things start to come in and I become aware of, and it's a crazy time. Yeah,
Oh
fasten
yeah.
your seatbelts. Yeah.
This is 1 year you'll never forget. Believe that.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, I think we'll just have to round off just for the sake of keeping it within a certain time limit. But
Wonderful.
I'm gonna watch this back many times, and there's a lot of great stuff in here, new things opening up.
Absolutely.
Do you want to say some last words to people who, by watching this, got interested in breatharian, in you, who think, okay, what can I do next with this information?
Oh yeah. Now, of course, with this message, I love to talk and I could go on and on and on. This is just scratching the surface. So that's
Yeah.
why I did create a YouTube channel with over 400 videos where people can really learn different interviews, different teachings. We really going into it. And plus, I got the new channel with co-host Shayna Dean, and we got Prana Talk TV. So they
Mhm.
also could go there where we got interviewing other breatharians around the world and really bringing it. So a person should get themselves in the cycle to at least learn the concept, both the pros and the cons. Because we're not saying this is an automatic and put tape on your mouth either. Nobody said that. This is a growing process where you're getting stronger and you're growing into it. This is what it's all about. Then you got to ask your question. And even if you're not planning on going total food free, like we said, just to eat very little or none at all. One thing we do better know is that I just did a video yesterday where the breatharian message teaches you how to eat before you go to unfooding. First, you got to learn how to eat. When you look at the health in the West, they don't know how to eat. They're eating themselves sick, eating themselves to death. So this does make you aware and make you conscious now about the different frequencies of vibrations you're allowing yourself to indulge in so you can have better health. Because if you got, listen, the bottom line is when you feel healthy across the board, you're going to have a better life.
Mm.
So I want everybody to keep up the good work. And I laid down a 4-thing foundation at least and start working with it and just start being more aware that this does exist because that's where it starts at. If you don't know something exists, then you don't know that you can do it. But this message is not stuck with the yogis up in the mountains no more. It's down, coming out to the average everyday person. And it's up to you now on where you want to do with it, how you want to apply it in your life, and go from there so you can have a better life.
Yeah, and I see it also happening. Also, more and more people become vegan because I think that's a stepping stone towards this. Huh? So to eat, first start eating more vegetables, fruits, living things, and then
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. That's it right there. Like we said, is it on one level we could take the moral issue, don't eat the animals, but then again, this is about integrity,
Mm.
and you should want to live a better life because that's what it boils down to. Like I said, I've been on this journey for 20 years. At first, I was laughed at and stuff. I went through that, but when I go back and see certain people who didn't like the message or whatever, now they're saying, "Wow, he
Mm.
looks totally different than I do, blah, 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 blah." And then even one woman said, "Man, I should have took better care of my health." That's
Mm.
what it boils down to. So again, this message is for everybody where you're starting at. And if you did abuse your health, you could turn it around because we also regenerate. So that's another
Mm.
good message right there. You can change things around. As long as you're in the land of the living and your feet is on the ground, you can make a change.
And any age,
Any age. This what makes it good. Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah.
So
All
keep
right.
so keep up the good work and just
Yeah.
keep going strong.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for your wisdom and putting these temptations out there of what's possible with the human body, the potential, and sharing your path and your
Hmm.
positive view on things.
All
Um,
right.
Thank you very very much for this. Great,
All
great.
right. Thank you.
So I will just put this out like this, bum, on YouTube. I don't have to do any editing, and
All right.
how it this will be transmitted. And
All right. Are you
yeah,
still recording?
sorry.
You still recording it right now?
Yeah,
Oh.
43. Yeah.
All right. So this will be good. Just let me know when you put it out.
Okay, I'll send you a message. Great.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you very much. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
Peace. You too.